Things are changing. They're changing faster than anyone could have anticipated. Just imagine 100 or 200 years ago. Nobody could have possibly anticipated how quickly things would be changing right now. But it's not all changing for the better. I mean, you know it, I know it. The world is kind of messed up. And it's not just something that you know with your mind, it's something that you feel deep inside. And if you have an ADHD nervous system, you're likely more sensitive to all of the challenges, all of the chaos, all of the craziness, it's just the weird things that are happening right now on this planet. But I want you to know that your nervous system is actually perfectly designed for this time of great change, great transformation. The Bible called it, the time of revelations. The apocalypse actually is a word from Greek that means the great unveiling. We're being shown, and some of the different files that have been dropped recently show this and prove this, but we're being shown what's happening behind the scenes. We're being shown the chaos and the insanity that really has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years, if not longer. And this is all happening. It's getting worse, it's getting louder, it's getting noisier because it's time for things to change. And your nervous system is actually completely necessary for this moment in time. Now, I want you to understand why it's actually such an advantage to have an ADHD nervous system at this time in the world. The first thing is because we are incredibly powerful in times of chaos. I worked for nearly 20 years in the restaurant business. Almost every night was a certain degree of chaos that most people wouldn't tolerate. They wouldn't enjoy, and they wouldn't, neurotypical people wouldn't want that in their lives. It's something that would put them in states of panic. But for some reason, I was always calm, cool, and collected. Now, don't get me wrong. I had my moments when it was a little bit too much, but overall, I did really well in the chaos. And that's because our nervous systems can handle all of the inputs, all of the damage, all of the crazy things that are happening. We can handle multiple sensorial inputs, and we can navigate it like champions. Whereas people that are neurotypical can easily fall apart. I mean, I remember so many times when I would onboard or train new employees, new servers, new waiters that would come in, and they would come in, and now I can tell from this point of view that they were neurotypical, but they would come in and they were so overwhelmed. They could not handle it. But other people like me would walk in and the chaos was no problem. So we can handle this chaos when things are shifting, when crazy news is dropping. And hey, look, I'm not saying that the world is going to completely fall apart, but let's say maybe the apocalypse really happens, zombie style. I would want to have an ADHD nervous system because I could absolutely more competently navigate this world. Now let's talk about number 2, which is our sensitivity. All right, we come from this more hunter-gatherer ancestral nervous system. We have a nervous system that is more tapped in, more sensitive. We hear more, feel more, see more, taste more. And all of these things are so key because when it's hitting the fan, you want to be sensitive and open to what's around you. Our sensitivity doesn't just show up through our 5 senses, it also shows up through the emotions. We can easily read other people's energy. We can tell when other people are going through challenges, and because of our ability to stay calm, we can absolutely be the pillar, the support that people need. And that's why I was a restaurant manager for so long, because I could help other people when things were falling apart. But let's talk about the third reason why it's actually really good to have an ADHD nervous system when the world is falling apart. It's because many people have been stuck in isolation for years and years. We have been trained to be alone, to do everything on our own. But we actually, with our nervous system, are much more wired to live in community. Now, we have our challenges, we have our difficulties with living in community and getting along with other people. But as we navigate that, we are more wired to be in tribe, in community. And by being together, by celebrating and honoring that need for connection, we're going to do so much better than the people that are just going to try to hide out in their bunkers or hide out in their apartments on their own. Now, another reason that we're going to do really well is because we're incredibly good at coming up with new ideas, problem solving. We're incredibly good at seeing that there is a way out, a way through. Now, the ADHD nervous system is really good at being the visionary archetype, the one who experiences the problem and says, no, there's got to be a better way. Whereas our neurotypical brothers and sisters are more likely to just say, well, this is the way it is, and how can I make it a little bit better? But if you're trying to go to a new destination, let's say a whole new planet, a whole new culture and society where we live together and we can support each other and we live in peace and harmony, if you're walking the complete opposite direction, a slightly better adjustment to that path is not going to do any good. You're going to keep walking away from what you desire. What we need to do is we need to walk towards each other and honor that we have this ability to see the opportunities in the chaos, right? We can see the opportunities in the chaos. So many inventors, so many entrepreneurs are people with an ADHD nervous system. And you can look at some of the classics. You can look at the Einsteins, the Nikola Teslas, or Thomas Edisons. These were people who could not sit still in classes. These were people who could not tolerate working the same boring job over and over again. These are people who loved dynamic environments. They loved challenges. They loved finding solutions for problems. And when the world falls apart, those are the kind of people that I want to have around me. Now, I don't know if you know this, but people with ADHD nervous system are like 3, maybe to 6 times more likely to be entrepreneurs. And that's because, number one, we see and feel the problems that are around us. We suffer so much from the problems of society. We're the ones that suffer from, the artificial light and living inside of tiny little boxes and having to stare at screens and being yelled at because we won't sit still in school, or being disciplined because people just don't understand us and they don't honor our need for movement and creativity in work. And the thing is that we feel that pain, and so we want to create solutions. We also have a nervous system that is very non-linear. We don't get stuck in, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in order to solve a problem. Sometimes we can make massive leaps into unknown territory, and for many people that's uncomfortable, but for us, it's just the way it is. And that's why so many of us tend towards entrepreneurship, which is really funny because working for ourselves can be really tough, because staying focused on a singular task and taking that march towards productivity can be really, really difficult for us. But when the end of the world is here and things are falling apart, I would much rather have this nervous system. I would much rather see the vision of what could be, to see what opportunities there are, and to try to make some sort of change instead of being stuck in the let's just make everything 1% better every single day. Because if the world is shit, then why are we going to want to make just tiny little changes to the systems that already exist? Because at the end of the day, it is the systems that are our greatest problem. Humanity has built systems that keep us in chains. The financial system, for the most part, keeps people suffering, keeps people in chains and harvests their energy. Go watch The Matrix and you'll see exactly what I mean. The medical system keeps people sick because people that are sick are better customers. The political system keeps us divided. It's in their best interest to have these little maps drawn with lines in between spaces in between people, because that separation creates confusion. It creates powerlessness. And then people keep voting to be under control, right? This world is systematized for a type of slavery. All of us have to deal with it, but for those of us that suffer the most, the ones with the ADHD and neurodivergent nervous systems, we're most likely going to be the ones that choose something better and decide to change things. So look, I'm going to leave it short and simple today. The end of the world is happening, but the end is always the beginning of something new. The chaos that is or will continue to take place, however crazy it might get. And no, I don't wish that it falls apart into a zombie apocalypse style, but I do know that I'm going to want to have myself surrounded by people that are similar to me, so that we can have people that deal with calm under pressure, that can easily navigate challenging situations, and that come up with visionary ideas for how to change and improve things. So remember that your nervous system is only disordered in a society that wants you to sit still, focus, and not question things. But in a society that is falling apart and needs to be redesigned, needs to be built from scratch, then you have a significant advantage because you know what doesn't work, you feel deeply what doesn't work, and you probably have a lot of really good ideas about how to make things better. So remember that your environment and the lifestyle that you live is what makes you disordered. But if you start to choose to live differently, change your environment, get outside, honor yourself by honoring the rhythm of nature, the sunrise, these are things that are going to make your life so much better. If any of this resonates, I want you to subscribe to the channel and drop a comment and let me know what you think the end of the world is going to be like and how you think that you can support with that process. Until next time, wishing you all a beautiful day from the Red Sea in Egypt.